Which of the following is a parameter of the k-neighbors classifier in scikit-learn? A. N neighbors. B. Kernel. C. D. Degree. E. All of the above. Correct. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT N neighbors. LTBGT is the number of neighbors to use by default for LTBGT k neighbors queries. LTBGT LT font GT LT font style font size 14 px GT. This is the key parameter for tuning the algorithm. The value of LTBGT n neighbors. LTBGT determines the number of neighbors to consider when predicting a new data points class. LT font GT LT font style font size 14 px quotient. For example, if LTBGT n neighbors 5 LTBGT, the model will consider the 5 nearest neighbors to a new data point to predict its class. LT font GT. True. Incorrect. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT KERNEL. LTBGT is a parameter used in support vector machines, SVMs, not KNN. It defines the kernel function used for transforming the data into a higher dimensional space. LT font GT. False. Incorrect. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT C. LTBGT is a parameter used in support vector machines, SVMs, and logistic regression, not KNN. It controls the trade-off between maximizing the margin and minimizing the classification error. LT font GT. False. Incorrect. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT. The GREAL TBGT is a parameter used in polynomial kernel SVMs, not KNN. It defines the degree of the polynomial used for transforming the data. LT font GT. False. Incorrect. Only n neighbors is a parameter of k-neighbors classifier. Kernel, C, and degree are parameters associated with other algorithms like SVM and logistic regression. False. A. N neighbors. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT distance metrics. LTBGT LT font GT. Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, Minkowski distance, Hamming distance. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT weighted neighbors. LTBGT LT font TGT allows giving more weight to closer neighbors. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT algorithm variants. LTBGT LT font TGT. Ball tree, KD tree, brute force search. LT font style font size 14 px GT LTBGT curse of dimensionality. LTBGT LT font TGT. As the number of dimensions increases, the distance between points becomes less meaningful. Can lead to poor performance in high-dimensional datasets. LTBGT image classification. LTBGT classifying images based on their pixel values, such as recognizing different types of objects or handwritten digits. LTBGT recommender systems. LTBGT predicting user preferences or recommending products based on their past behavior. LTBGT customer segmentation. LTBGT grouping customers into different segments based on their demographics and purchase history. LTBGT fraud detection. LTBGT identifying fraudulent transactions or activities based on historical data.